And now for the highlight of the morning session, the keynote speech titled Embracing Transformation, Your Survival Kit to Navigate Uncertainty by the esteemed Aireen Omar of AirAsia Digital, together with the Nampak Je Garang Tapi Baik, Karamjit Singh of Digital News Asia.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the keynote, the most important session of this two-day Simplifying Marketing Tech Conference. And, we've got one of the an executive who has been living and breathing not just marketing tech, but her keynote topic itself, right? Digital transformation for over a decade and a half. Well recognized. And really, if I start getting into her what she has done and what she's doing now, it'll take more than 15 minutes. Of course, we don't want that. So Aireen, thank you for making time for this. And I know that you've got a quick highlights, right, that you want to present in terms of, the importance of digital transformation, especially in this current challenging era. Why don't you start with that? And I've got 3 questions that I'm going to shoot you, and hopefully they make you nervous, right?
Thank you, Karam. So maybe what I start first is how we have evolved into more than just an airline. As you know, we started way back in 2001. Yep. We relaunched ourselves as a low-cost carrier, and that's something that was never heard in this part of the world. And what was even something that nobody would ever thought of or thought that, is it true or whatever that we're doing, apart from just selling flights cheap, that we sold flights through our website. And we were encouraging people to get the best price, the best seats and so forth, is to go through our website at AirAsia.com. And you will be able to get it directly and choose your seats, choose where you want to fly and so forth. You don't need to go through the travel agent. Correct. And all that. So we have always digitalized ourselves. We've always embraced technology. And back in 2009, we were the first in the region for airline, especially, to have a mobile app. So people could actually book flights using our mobile app. So we have always embraced technology. We have always understand what our products are, what our services are, what we hope to do, where is our backyard. ASEAN is our backyard, basically. And we have always tried to understand our consumers. And that's the reason why we encourage consumers and passengers to book through our website and our mobile app so that we could have direct contact and understand what their needs and wants are. And how they shop, right? Because how they go through the web pages, what they're searching for, how long are they, were they in those pages in trying to get something that they want, or probably didn't realize that they want it, but because of certain banners or advertisements or so, they decided that they need to buy that particular flight tickets and so forth. And about 10 years ago, we realized that we have accumulated a lot of data.
Huge, yeah.
Coming from our booking system, data from our aircraft, our engine, data about movements of aircraft on the airports, of how we fly them, how the pilots fly them, how our workforce work in order to meet that 25 minutes turnaround time, and making sure that we optimize our aircraft utilization to 14 hours a day. Data, understanding the consumer behavior on our website and so forth. So we saw that there is an opportunity for how we use this data. And data has become a real asset for us. And how do we work this even more? And as a result, we first thought, okay, we need to ingest all this data from various systems into a foundry so that we could visualize the data better. And how do we connect the data from one use case to another use case to give a holistic overview and end-to-end solution, not just for a consumer or passengers, but also for our own workforce, so they could be more productive and more efficient. So we started our digital journey in a very big way, in the most aggressive way, more than 3 years ago.
Okay.
So firstly, identifying that data, knowing what to do with it, and housing it, and be able to know how to use it, and making sure we have the right infrastructure to be able to use it. And this means that we have to restructure our tech team from an ICT business as usual enterprise tech team. We have to restructure it into a data scientist team, a digital marketing team, a product UI UX designer team, a cloud infrastructure team, a software engineering team, and most important of all, information and cybersecurity expert team. So based on our own research and our own conversation and discussion with various experts around the world in the tech industry, we felt that this is what we needed to do. And as a result, from there, we started hiring all this talent, and it was not very easy because these are the talent that people look for any company around the world who's embracing IR 4.0. So basically, we had to pinch from everywhere around the world. And this is something that's not sustainable for us because we feel like, okay, we can't achieve our dream of turning our business and pivot it into more than just an airline, into a travel and lifestyle tech company, because we saw the opportunity of what this data can be. And we need to find that tech talent for the long term, as opposed to having a revolving door talent, or every 2 years they change and move, perform, and they'll be disrupted. So we decided to build our own tech academy to emulate what we did with the Aviation Academy, where we build our own talent pipeline of pilots. So we're not subjected to global shortage of pilots. So we decided to do the same thing, and we partner up with Google, who's our business partner, to build that academy to firstly upskill our existing tech team and also to reskill our existing workforce. Because as we do more and more work of machine learning and so forth, we felt that there'll be a lot of our staff that will be redeployed, and it's our responsibility to give them the opportunity to reskill themselves, so that they can be part of this digital journey. Because on one hand, you reduce the workforce by using all this digitalization, learning, and so forth. But on the other hand, we need a lot of workforce in software engineering, in cloud infrastructure, and digital marketing, and so forth. So we felt there's an opportunity to reskill it, and we created an academy to do that. And now it has evolved into something else that's open to the public.
Exactly.
I'm trying to say here, we have pivoted in a big way from just becoming an airline, because we saw the richness and the wealth of data that we have. We felt that we can be more than just an airline. We could build new, not only improve our revenue base through personalization and through targeted marketing and so forth, but and predictive marketing as well. How do we build new business areas? Because we understand the consumer, their needs and their wants and their behavior, and there's an opportunity to cross-sell other things to them. And that means you're creating new business needs and areas, which is what we have created for the past 3 years, apart from evolving the commercial AirAsia.com from just selling our plane tickets into a super app where we start selling other airlines tickets, hotels, all the needs, the e-commerce and so forth. And then also by turning our cargo department into a true logistic solutions, because we felt that, you know, we have the routes and the connectivity, and we reach out to not just capital cities, but third-tier cities and fourth-tier cities. So we could provide an end-to-end logistics solution that encourage cross-border transaction and facilitate the e-commerce business in this part of the world. And then we saw the opportunity of building a fintech business and so forth. So all this is because we understood our data, we know what to do with it, we are able to connect the dots, and hence we're able to evolve from just becoming a low-cost carrier airline into a travel and lifestyle ecosystem that includes a super app, a commercial platform that sells travel-related as well as lifestyle-related products and services, a logistic business to enable and anchor the e-commerce business that we have created to the super app, as well as a fintech business that reach out to the underbanked and the unbanked, as well as the SME. So whatever that we did, it was really for the masses, from the low-cost carrier to what we have evolved to. It's for the masses, it's for ASEAN, it's also to be able to offer that product and services to outside the ecosystem that we have created, so that other industry players can enjoy and create further value. And that's where we have become today. And all that is because we understand the consumer behavior and using data to understand it further and build other businesses.
And I guess you were not satisfied, with status quo of the business also, right? You see progression, growth. This was before COVID, right? You are not satisfied. You're still hungry, which is quite interesting. Aireen, I got to tell you that you have done a great job in making me want to buy your shares when you go for that SPAC listing, man. The way you're talking about all the pieces together, very valuable. So, but okay, you painted an amazing picture and also an intimidating picture for many of those who are listening and are probably at the earlier part of their journey, right? And to try to help them relate to that, I want to take you back to the past, right? To when you first started and at AirAsia, like 16 years ago in 2006, right? So and although back then you were in the finance department, which is fine, but I just wondering whether you were able to remember, back then you were a challenger brand. So what do you feel AirAsia did right, to challenge an incumbent, to try to stand out and win customer confidence, right? And more importantly, are there lessons, right, that today's challenger brands can learn also?
Yes, definitely. I think what we did back then is also applicable now to many players across various industries.
Okay, nice.
So what happened was back in when we first started in 2001 is that we saw that there is a gap in travel industry. There's a hole that needs to be filled, and travel through flights were only meant for the elite few.
Yeah.
And we thought that this is not quite right. The connectivity is very limited and it's only for a few people. And how can we make this connectivity wider and the network even larger, and also to be able to serve the masses? How do we make flying affordable? And this is where we understood that the whole idea behind this was the air travel industry has always been inefficient in terms of its costs. There's spats everywhere. And they were just focused on just flying from one point to another point. And they outsourced everything to everybody. They outsourced the selling of their tickets. They outsource it to travel agents, to whoever that they might be able to. They don't want to own the consumer, which I think this is quite wrong, to be able to not understand your consumer. Okay. And then at the same time, also you outsource all your infrastructure, your food related, in-flight, that kind of thing, basically. And as a result, you have aircraft that's not utilized well. You have schedules that are not utilized well, and all this created to more inefficiencies. And what that inefficiency means, it means increase in cost. Yeah. So this is where we come in. We saw that inefficiency. We saw like, okay, how do we make this more efficient? Okay. Because in order for us to be able to offer affordable pricing, your cost has to be low. And that's where we find ways to improve the utilization rate, to improve the scheduling, and to look at destinations that will not just encourage a lot more frequencies, because as you have more frequencies and flights, your unit cost will be lower. Okay. How do we make that utilization of aircraft with more like 25 minutes turnaround? Right? Most at that point in time will only be like 2 hours turnaround, right?
At least minimum, yeah, correct.
Yes, the more the planes are on ground, you're actually losing money as opposed to trying to earn. So that was the idea. Firstly, identify the inefficiencies that is creating a lot of cost inefficiencies and increasing it. And that's an opportunity for us to come in and improve it. Secondly, the demand is there, but we're not actually fulfilling that demand. Why should it be only just for the elite few? How can we make it even cheaper so that people can fly wherever they want to, whenever they want to, as often as they want to, and be connected to the world or so. And that has always been our value proposition. That has always been the consumer. We need to understand them. And then from there, we became what we were today, and we'll be able to collect data and understand them and then evolve to what we are today.
So I think the key takeaway, I think for anyone out there is that don't be undaunted if you are entering into a market that seems like it's a red ocean. Because when you came in, it's definitely not a blue ocean, but you came in with a fresh lens of eyes and you dared to want to challenge, the way things were being done. You so many things you said, why should it be this way? Why should we outsource? Why is the food right outsourced to someone else? Because back then you thought it was efficiency, but you say no, we can do it as well if we challenge that system, and you broke it, right? And you molded it in your own manner. So interesting. So I guess the key takeaway is to be bold and don't be afraid to take on incumbents, because there's still opportunity in those markets, correct?
Yes. And once you have captured those markets, don't just stay on that one market. There are bigger things that you could try and achieve as well. Why do you want to be just a jago kampung if you could take the whole ASEAN?
Yeah. Okay.
And the ASEAN market is a fantastic addressable market that needs to be met, right? You have one of the largest population base, almost over 700 million people, one of the fastest growing middle income in the world, and one of the youngest population base.
Very important,
ASEAN is surrounded by water as well. People need to connect, right? And the land transportation isn't as good as what you see in the developed world. So there are great opportunities to do so. So this is the mindset that we have. We worked in Malaysia. How can we make this work in Indonesia and in Thailand? And how do we build this network bigger? And that's the reason why we established Thai AirAsia, Indonesia, make it locally incorporated, so we could take advantage of the bilateral rights of that country with other countries, and we could also fly domestically in that country. And that helps us expand the network in Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, India, have various hubs and build a huge network that is still unrevealed till today.
So interesting when you say locally incorporate to take advantage of bilateral rights. So you are aware, so you are taking advantage of regulations also in another country. So a lot of times entrepreneurs, we say the regulations in that country is hard to enter, but you turned it and turned it to an advantage for you. So fantastic.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. All right, great. So look, the way you're answering it, I've got actually one more question. I think this will be a long one because it's a one question, but I'm going to bring you back to the present from back 2006. And really, because the topic, you're talking about transformation, right? Importance of embracing it. Let's talk about maybe today's companies, right? You may have, I would think there are probably three types of companies at three stages. One, those who have not started, forget about embracing transformation, right? They haven't even taken the first step. So maybe you could share, Aireen, that if you haven't even taken your first step, what should those companies, and I know I'm terribly overgeneralizing, but this maybe is for SMEs, right? Haven't taken the first step, what can they do to take that first step? And then for those who have taken the first step already, what is the second step they need to take? And Aireen, maybe what resources they need also, right, to take that second step? And maybe the third one is they've already taken the first two steps, what they can then do to embrace, right? And maybe to try to become winners in this space. So a three-part question, and I'm being sneaky. Sometimes press conferences, right? You say I only got one question, but it's a three-part question. So this is me for you, Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
No problem. So the first step in entering a business for any SMEs or micro entrepreneurs or even a first-time entrepreneur, you need to know what do you want to do, which industry that you're looking for and why. But now you need to also be mindful that we are in the stage of RI 4.0, right? The digital economy. How do you think of the areas that you want to be in or you want to do a business in? How does it fit in the whole digital economy? So you need to start doing your own research. Firstly, what kind of skill sets do we need to be able to embrace this digital economy, and so that you will always be relevant and the business you want to build is sustainable for a very long time, right? Because this digital economy is still very new. People are still understanding it. Even analysts and investors are still understanding it on how to value it. And hence the reason why you see all this crazy valuation from all around the world when the company itself has not been making profits or struggling with cash flows and so forth. So you need to understand what is it and where can you fit in and which industry that you need to be in. And then you need to do your own research and find that, resource, what kind of resources do you need to be able to make this work? And what are the industries that has got again, what I said, inefficiencies,
Yeah.
gaps and holes, that, you could provide a solution that address the industry problem.
Yep.
If you could find a solution that address the industry problem, then you have a clear winner of your business model, really, because
Nice.
it's solving whatever the industry needs and wants are, right? So, the first part is to gather as much knowledge, study, talk to people, build that network and that kind of thing. And then to me, the next step is, okay, it's still the first step.
Okay.
To identify your industry. What is that addressable market? You need to understand that addressable market. And if you were to be in that industry and you know where the market that you want to address, what is your unique selling proposition? What is your USPs? Who are the competitors or the peers that could be there, if not there, but people can, companies can evolve if they're quick and smart about it, to fill in that gap. Who could be the potential competitors? Who are the competitors? And what is your unique selling proposition that make you stand up against the others? What is your reason to exist? And that is something that a lot of companies forget, because as they get so involved in trying to build something and trying to compete and trying to get customers, and they're so into getting that traffic whatsoever, they forget what are they there for, and how do we strategize to make sure that they don't lose that. So that's the most important thing. And then from there, you need to understand your target audience as well. So any investors that want to invest in companies will ask those things. Addressable market, your unique selling proposition, your target audience, and so. So what I'm saying is nothing new. It has been there for many, many years, and it still exists. It's just that we're in a digital environment. Then step 2 is, once you know what it is, you need to create a business plan. And I think, some companies may not know that they need to really be thorough in their business plan, but you need to know exactly, at least in the first year, what is your achievement? What do you need to achieve? Right? And the first year, of course, is not about achieving your profitability or EBITDA. It's about cash flow. How are you going to sustain and the cash flow that you need to have? Because, in the first few years of your business, you need to be able to cover your operating expenses. And
at the least, you're right.
Is king, right? And if anything happens, you need to be able to have that cash there to help you out. Your profitability will come soon once you be able to get that cash running. You need to be focused, net cash positive for the next few months and so forth, basically. And if you identify your business plan and understand, okay, this is what I need to be, then from that business plan, you understand the resources that's required of you, whether it's people that you need to hire, or infrastructure or tools that you need to have. Or like you see, okay, I start this up, but I think I will be in a negative cash position for the first year. But this is a true business that you believe in. Then you know what kind of funding needs you probably need, right? And then you will probably see, okay, these industries that you're in, is there any grants out there that you could take advantage of? So these are the kind of things that you need to start thinking now, and start thinking who could be your network, your business partners, how to get customers in. If you don't, it's tough to get customer acquisition is always tough for new businesses. Who could you partner with that you could leverage on that customer acquisition from other people's partnership, or so, the traffic that you could draw in. That's important, but your business plan must be there, so you have a clear idea, clear KPIs, clear goals that you need to achieve. And then from there, let's say you have moved on to year 1. Year 1 is always the most critical thing, right? How do you move on to year 2, year 3, year 4? You should have already a plan for 2-3 years. 5 years is always a dream, right? Your business plan always change. So it's always you have the first 2-3 years at most, and then you need to focus on that. So, and when throughout that experience of the first few years, you see that as you go deeper into the business operations, and as you go and get your business working or so, there will be challenges and there will be opportunities. And how do you handle the challenges first, and how do you see those opportunities? And sometimes those opportunities just present itself there and then, as opposed to be in your business plan that you have actually worked on or developed on before. And this is where we need to have some agility. We need to be able to see, okay, if that's the case and this is the case, how do I connect those dots to make it even bigger and another revenue stream or another opportunity to make it, to have a wider market presence and that kind of thing, basically. And in that stage also, you need to be sure that, again, I stress on data. Always own your consumer. Don't let other people own your consumer. You must own it. Understand what, from there, from the business operations that you have, that data, you must be able to accumulate it and understand it and be able to use it to your advantage to create new business areas or to be improving your marketing campaigns or personalize it or whatsoever. So those, I feel, are the natural phases.
Natural steps. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
When at a new stage of people entering into business or someone who's in a very who's currently an SME or a micro entrepreneur hoping to grow bigger.
Very good. Wow, it's amazingly structured. You are just so clear on the steps, Aireen. Almost like you have a teleprompter in front of you, which I don't. I'm sure you don't. So that's pretty amazing. But you probably will make a very good coach, a mentor. So I don't know whether you're going to share your email and you're open to a mentor people.
I'm happy to mentor people because in a way I learn also.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you learn by teaching, but no, very structured, very interesting. So it's, as I was listening, one part of me was saying, hey, she's telling things that are already well known, right? Try to identify a market pain point, right? Identify a USP, and then identify your customer that you're going to target. And then you go on to the next step. And then I said, this is all very business plan to guide you. But then you went to data, which is the digital, the new oil of, right? And that you normally don't hear before. So own the data. So that's very important. And people may not feel their data is important. And I can tell you from my own experience with DNA, somebody very smart, way smarter than me, told me at a very early stage, something along that lines. And I didn't understand it, Aireen. And I said, maybe this is only for big companies, right? Because he's obviously a CEO of a big company. But I only realized last year, now I know what he meant. But 8 years have gone by and I'm a real dungu, right? So it's good for all of you to listen to realize you've got to really try to own the data, right? Customer data.
You see, Karamjit, when we first started as a low-cost carrier, right? We didn't want to use travel agents. We want to own our consumer so that we could understand their behavior through the data points when they search and transact through our website and mobile app. So, and we were small then, right? We were
correct. 2 planes,
Yes, and just 2 planes, and then there's Malaysia Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific,
correct,
and so forth. And we were the underdogs. So, but the fact that we were quite determined owning our consumer, and that's the central thesis of our business, right? The central thesis is to understand and own your consumer. And I think once you know how to do that and you know how to connect the dots and so forth, you can't really go wrong.
Wonderful. Wow. So I honestly, we are out of time. I honestly think that nice way you ended, we can't go wrong. I think for those of you out there, this is a session that you need to keep bookmarked and come back and listen to again and again. And I think it'll remind you of the very, very critical business basics also of trying to create a successful business. It's all been laid down there very lucidly, very clearly by Aireen. I thank you for your time, Aireen, and I think this has been interesting. And I'm going to, when this over, I'm just going to kick myself again for not taking advantage of and not realizing the importance of trying to own your customers' data. But wonderful. Thank you for your time. And thank you for your offer also of you saying that you love to mentor people. So I think I'm sure the organizers will share your email or an email that you give to them, right? That they can share with everyone out there. So people can reach you. And those who are persistent and present a compelling case, I'm sure Aireen will say, okay, this person is crazy enough. I think I'm going to want to spend some time helping them, right? to be the next, outstanding entrepreneur out there. But thank you so much for your time, and for all of you out there, we hope that you imbue yourself in the next day and a half further of this conference, and learn and just ask lots of questions, right? So thank you again, Aireen, for your time. Fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all, man. It's been a pleasure.
Wow, guys, what an awesome sharing that was. Aireen is obviously in her element, and Karam, aka Mr. Nampak Je Garang Tapi Baik, asked all the right questions, and that is what I would call wickedly good. Now, I love the theme of the keynote, embracing transformation, embracing change, because in the end, it's the only constant, right? So, some points here: being open to a culture of continuous learning, capitalizing on opportunities to stay relevant, challenging the norm, being constantly hungry for success, understanding and owning your consumer data is key, not only to survive, but thrive in the new normal. Now, that was a brilliant keynote, and it was also broadcasted on LinkedIn Live, by the way. So everyone, as we break for lunch, we do have a couple of announcements here. The first is a reminder for you to visit the booths. Again, mingle and network, make friends, ask questions. Also, don't forget to fill out your Turbo Quest forms, okay? Because winning something with minimal effort is a great feeling, right? Who's with me? All right, let's see some emojis here. Am I right or am I right? Okay, we would also like to mention here that Aireen Omar has graciously agreed to mentor a select few from Turbocharge.Live. Now, this is major. Now, you can't see it, but I'm actually jumping up and down on the inside. So stay tuned for that and look out for more details on that bit of wonderful news, all right? So you got to stay on and stay tuned. Now, there's so much more excellent content to come in the next sessions for the rest of the day, guys. So do stay on for those. We've only scratched the surface here. We will see you guys at the panel session later and hopefully at the lounge as well. So have a great lunch and we will see you in a bit.